Alright, you guys, so to begin with, make sure you are ready with your rough sketch. I think creating rough sketch is the easiest step ever, so that's the reason why I kind of skip recording it. But if you want me to kind of also include that in my tutorials, then I can actually start doing that. Now here I'm actually going to show you the colors I'm going to be using. I actually picked up this green color and then this dark green color. Both the colors are quite desaturated, and then this dark yellow, and then this darker yellow than the previous one as well. All of the colors are quite desaturated. And also for the outline, I used this really desaturated orangish yellow kind of color. And I created a new layer, placed it underneath the sketch layer, and we are actually gonna start with filling the color in. I'm starting to fill this the lightest green on the color palette inside all the leaves. Now I have used this darker orangish yellowish kind of color for the outlines because that is actually gonna look really natural as compared to if you use some sort of green color. Even though you can absolutely use a green color, a darker green color, but in my recommendation, I would highly suggest you guys to choose a color which is warm like this one. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. I'm just basically filling in all the leaves. The brush I'm using here doesn't really matter because what we're focusing on is filling the color in. Also, you guys, this tutorial is not at all software specific or app specific. I'm using Procreate. You can use any other tool and just use the similar steps and you're gonna have a nice looking foliage. So yeah, that's that. For the next step, create a new layer, place it under all the leaves, and we are gonna pick up this dark brownish color, dark yellowish color, and we are actually gonna fill it in the gaps between the leaves, if that makes any sense. So if there is this open area where how do I explain this? If there is some open area where the leaves are not touching each other, do not add this color there. Only add this color where leaves kind of touching each other in a way where they have created this gap, almost like a closed gap. So wherever the gap is kind of open, do not add this color there. And here I actually added color where the gap was kind of open, but later on I actually ended up erasing that because that's not what I want. You just need to add this color wherever you have a closed gap, if that makes any sense. So that is the next step basically. And once you're happy with that one, what you're gonna do, you're gonna pick up this darkest color. Again, brush doesn't really matter. You can use any brush you want. And adding this color really close to the leaves so as to create a dark shadow right underneath the leaves, if that makes any sense. And wherever I have the smallest gap, I'm adding this color full on. I don't know if this is making sense. Like, I'm trying my best to explain this. This is the hardest thing to explain, to be honest. But yeah, add this darker color wherever you think the leaves are gonna create a deeper shadow. So that's what we're doing right here. Now go back to the leaves layer, alpha lock the layer itself, and I'm gonna pick up this desaturated orangish yellow kind of color, and I'm actually gonna be adding this color on the leaves which are kind of underneath, as in which are not forward, if that makes any sense, so as to create some depth. So any leaf or leaves which are kind of behind as compared to the leaves who are above. I don't know how to explain this. This is hard, you guys. But just add this color on the leaf or on the leaves which are kind of behind, so as to create some depth, so that we can kind of differentiate between leaves that are forward and leaves which are, you know, underneath the main leaves who are kind of lingering above. Okay, I'm not going to speak too much on this because I might just end up confusing you guys, but I think you got what I was trying to say, okay? So basically, I'm using a medium hard brush. So I'm pretty sure whatever software or tool or app you're using, it has some sort of medium hard brush. Use that. So what you want to do is you want to also add this color a little bit on the leaves which are like coming forward, but with really light hand so that we don't spill out all the pigment on the leaves, which are kind of above, right? So that's what I did right here. Once you're really happy with this, pick up your blending brush. For the blending brush as well, I'm picking up medium brush, and I'm just gonna start blending this out. Also, just pick up any blending or smudging brush your software has to start smudging it out. I will link all the smudging tutorials and tutorials on blending and everything else down in the description. By the way, you guys, I'm actually coming up with a short course around blending itself, and it's going to be kind of detailed. So if you struggle with blending, that course is going to be really good for you. So once I blended everything on the leaves part of it, I started blending everything out for the gap part of it. I am really, I just, in my mind, I do not have any terminologies for this, but I'm like trying my best, you guys. So yeah, you guys, just blend it all out, and we are gonna be moving to the next step. If you are following along this tutorial, you can just pause the video and then you can just come back for the next step. Now again, coming back to the leaves layer, I'm gonna pick up this dark green color now, and I picked up soft airbrush. Again, you can use any brush you like, you guys. If you want some texture on the leaves, you can use any brush which you really like creating texture with. So I am actually adding this green color wherever I want some sort of shadow, but I want that shadow to be in green, if that makes any sense, because at the end of the day, we are painting leaves, so we are gonna have to add some sort of green, and we cannot just add brownish colors or yellowish colors, right? And as you guys can already see, the combination of warm orangish colors with green colors is actually looking really natural and realistic, as compared to if we just used green for everything. It would have looked, I don't know, weird to be honest. So yeah, that's the next step. Again, if you're following along, you can just look at what I'm doing right here and just add the green shadow, the darker green shadow wherever I am adding it, or just add it wherever you think the shadow should be. I picked up this lighter version of this orangish yellowish kind of color, and I alpha logged these sketch lines, and I added this color because I just realized that color was a little too dark. Now once you're happy with this, pick up your luminance brush if you're using Procreate, or if you're using some other app, just change the layer mode to add or color dodge, and pick up the lightest green from the palette and just start adding this color wherever you think light should be hitting on the leaves. This is not really necessary. I just do it because I enjoy doing this, and I think it actually makes the whole painting look more natural, more realistic, but you don't have to do that. For the next step, create a new layer, add clipping mask to it, create above the leaf layer, and we are here gonna add some cast shadows. For that, I picked up the darkest color. You can even pick up black color if you're really good with handling the brush. I always use black color, but I'm just using the darkest color from the palette here, and I'm actually adding this color really close to the edges of the leaf, which are above which are towards the top side of the foliage, if that makes any sense, so that we can create this shadow. So the leaves above everything else is creating this cast shadow on the leaves which are underneath it, if that is making sense. So you guys can see, and the trick to create cast shadow is to just make sure you're very light-handed on the screen so that we are not spilling out a lot of pigment onto the leaves, and we don't really have to actually blend it out later because we want it to be harsh. And that's how you create foliage. This is looking really pretty, really nice. If you want, you can saturate the colors a little bit more, but I just did not do that. It's totally up to you. You can actually create this with any kind of color. I actually loved drawing it. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. I tried my best to explain you guys how I did it. If you like this video, if you're following along with this video, and if you do end up creating this foliage, then please tag me on Instagram. I would love to see that. Other than that, I will see you guys in my next video.